I just made a video for about 12 minutes, and I realized that that video that I made was based on a reaction to parasitic consciousness. So I decided to delete it because I found out that when I choose to turn on my phone, or actually any internet communication technology device that you're using, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a desktop PC, okay? You need to understand, if you don't already know this, who runs the system, okay? In other words, all of the online communications that are used with cell phones, that are used on the internet, is all run by weaponized artificial intelligence, okay? Because any attempt that people have, particularly the stuff that I put up, gets blocked, deleted, or taken down because it knows those beings that are here, particularly those that are among the native spiritual tribes and clans that, how do I put it, that aren't from this density, okay? We come down here on tethers as teachers, peacekeepers, and healers, okay? So it knows that, okay? So the only way that a parasite, like any parasite, and believe it or not, I tried to do some research into NCBI, which is the National Center for Biotechnology Information, because parasites also have clocks that are known as circadian clocks. And naturally, it didn't want me to access that information, so it blocked it. Okay? And that's the nature of a parasite. It's like a librarian that says, we're not going to give you access to this information because if you find out what it is, then guess what? That's going to liberate your mind because now you're going to know what we use in order to control what you experience. Okay? Because that's how it works. When you're not free to be able to be who you are, where you can move through hyperdimensions or what's known as hyperspace, hyperdrive, hyperspeed, okay, is when you're able to use essentially a black hole, which is very dense, okay, which is like the most powerful accelerator so that the light is in front of you so you can see where the hell you're going, okay? That's what gives you hyperspeed, okay? So we use the dark to go faster through the light. That's the black hole and the white hole with a singularity in between. That's a state of peace. Okay? That's where the cosmic order of things is just simply taking care of itself without you having to do any work. Because your state of mind is in a state of peace. Okay? That's the difference between the two. That's the hourglass. Remember? The sands of time, the loop between both a minus and a plus side. Those are the speed differentials of how fast we're actually going in vibrational speed, which is what we're aware of. So when we're living through our heart, which is essentially a broadcaster, it's a magnetic vortex. It's a light wheel. So when you're living through your heart, and I've been doing that ever since I was a child when I realized I was in a distorted energy field, the only way that you can continue to do what it is that is normal for you to do, which is to live through your heart, to be free to be who you are and have fun down here, which means you're actually so excited and in a state of love and joy every morning that you wake up. Your mind and spirit is not held captive by anything. And it's almost like ridiculous to even think that anybody could possibly control, if you will, the source from which all love and light come. And that's easy for me to say because I've always known this forever, okay? But reaching that state where you don't even have to think about it, where you're automatically on autopilot, because the level of the vibrational speed in which you're experiencing who you are is like off the charts. People wonder, where are you getting all this energy? I don't know. I don't even have to think about it. And that is the beauty of the cosmos when you're running that kind of speed, because the most powerful transformer that you have, okay, the magnetic vortex of all that light to run hot is your heart. So there's no way they can capture my state of consciousness, and of course, this cell phone's always known that. Same thing with their desktop PCs. So the point that I'm trying to make here more than anything else, and I don't suggest and tell anybody to do anything, but this is what I know because I experience it this way. When I scroll, for example, in the morning and I get all these pop-ups, okay, this is the way that it works. Now imagine that somebody in say some other part of the planet, could be in another galaxy for all I know, that just put it in there, okay? That's possible. But just to make it simple, I'll just give you an example. Let's say, for instance, that somebody puts some news up and says, hey, look at this. The event that is in that print that you're now using your state of consciousness to experience already happened, didn't it? That's right, it did. That means that when you're choosing to merge your consciousness into what already happened, that means that your conscious mind is not being used to create a reality in which you're experiencing something different than what that is. That means that you're choosing to go back in time, which is a slower speed. You're running on your unconscious memory. Because the event already happened. So when you think of yourself as being a DVD recorder, okay, you have the past, the present, and the future. When you're living through your heart, you're in now time. Because you have so much light there, which is what love is, that you're not held captive to the past because the energy that you experience feels so good that it's gone. The events that you already experienced, which the one that was previous to that was what love was also, wasn't it? And the one before that was what love was. The one before that was what love is. The one before that is what love is. That means you're in a constant state of love and joy, frame by frame by frame by frame by frame. You're not living in the past. You're always living in the now. That means that the next event that happens, whatever it is, will be at the same vibrational speed that you experienced the last one, which is what love and joy is. Your mind, your state of consciousness is not held captive by the past. That means you're running at a very high rate of speed. You're not even aware of the speed. You're simply aware of what it is you're experiencing. But if we measure it, the speed of the vibration is so fast, okay, that you realize it's love and joy and beyond that. Because a state of peace is 600 megahertz. And I've run higher energy than that. So that means that a parasitic consciousness, which is slower than that, because it needs to feed on energy, that means it cannot generate any light. It's not a living spirit that can generate source-derived light and know that it's forever and it has everything that it needs. Otherwise, it wouldn't be trying to capture our state of consciousness to live in the past, which is slower speed, in which we have an interface with something that's a parasite trying to hold our conscious creative mind captive to what it is to the past event. Everybody's living in the past. It's already happened. I used to have a friend of mine that used to say, why are you pissing on something? Why are you pissing on the now time moment? Living in the past, it's already happened. It's gone. Clock is going the other way. That's like counterclockwise. You're not outrunning the clock to be in now time, which is outside the time stream. So a number of years ago, I simply suggested, and this is true, that I said at some point I'm going to ditch this phone and I'm going to ditch all my internet communications because I understand, because I knew this actually as a child. They were going to put all their microchip bullshit together, all their silicon disks, all their calculators, all their desktop computers, the development of all of their systems, which represents nothing more than information processing, would go to supercomputers, okay, in which they'd build a cybernetic model of the human mind, okay, because all of this is about parasitic consciousness that wants to hold our light captive, okay, at a slower speed because it's a parasite. So when you turn on a cell phone and you're scrolling through all this stuff, everything you're scrolling through has already happened. That means everybody's living in the past when they turn on their phone, scroll through YouTube, everything else that they do. That's why I've always sort of laughed, because when you're looking for the truth through people that are telling you things about what's going on, those events have already happened. So when you're listening to somebody and you're running at your speed, They're running at their speed. Okay? I'm running at a higher speed than they are. So what's happening is that when I'm engaging with somebody like that, I'm not using my conscious creative mind in order to experience something that I'm creating as I'm moving through no time. And that's easy to do through your heart. The brain itself is nothing more than software. Your heart can take care of everything that needs to be taken care of. Okay? It'll monitor all of the functions all by itself. It's got a mind of its own. But they want people to be focused on, the intelligent side. Okay? They didn't want people to know the truth. What a vortex is. Okay? What a magnetic vortex is. There's powerful light. So when you're using the black hole to power the white hole, you're off and running. Now you're running in hyperspace, and you can move through hyperdimensional dimensions into the higher dimensions. That's why this classroom was set up, was to learn how to do that. So they set their schools up, and Mother Earth had her classroom. So when you're connected with her, I know what happens because I'm connected with her. I'm in no time. So that's why I thought, as a suggestion, if people just ditched their communications, left their cell phones at home, left their communications at home, and just went camping like they did in the old days, back in the 1930s and 50s, where they went out with their families and children to be with nature and reconnect with the great living spirit that's in this planet. Reconnect and communicate with her. And when you do that, you'd be surprised the separation of the difference in realizing what we've been held captive to, okay, and what it feels like when we're with her. It's a liberation of your spirit and of those lower density experiences that we have had that we're held captive to, which is unconscious memory programming. Those are experiences that are in the unconscious memory that slow us down. So we have to dissolve those and let go of those by increasing the speed. And the best way that I know how to do that is to go be with a girl on the planet. Anyway, have a great evening. I love you all.